morning, Breakfast with Bacon fans. I have on my show Judson Carroll. He was on here before. You may have seen him because he wrote the book, which I was so excited about, Herbs That Heal. I have herbs in my garden now that I'm trying to take advantage of that book. But I wanted to invite him back because he's also a prepper, but he's not only just a prepper. He's written books on prepping. He's got three separate podcasts. He's a devout Catholic. He says he's been called everything but a child of God. I don't believe him. I think he's been called that as well. But welcome to the show, Judson Carroll, author, prepper, Catholic, child of God, podcaster, and whatever else that we want to call you.
Yeah, well, I do a lot of stuff. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, I guess the other big thing is a musician. I play music and teach. I give free lessons on YouTube on how to play guitar and mandolin and such as that. So if anybody just wants to have some fun, totally free. Just check out my YouTube channel on
Free
that.
is in
Yeah,
my budget. Free is
yeah.
affordable. So someone should
Well,
be able to take you
I
up on
always
that.
wanted to go to Nashville and be a country music star, and I never made it. So now I just share all the stuff that I learned from all the old folks that were kind enough to share with me. And I got to know so many legends, people you would just names that you wouldn't believe that
Like who? Name a few.
oh, Emmylou Harris. You remember Emmylou
Oh, I
Harris?
remember the
Yeah.
name. Yeah,
Got to have
that's
lunch
excellent.
with her. I turned down a date with one of the Dixie Chicks one time. Um,
And you slapped yourself because of it, right?
Oh no, that Natalie Maine, she is bad news. I'm telling you. Yeah, that's a long story. Great songwriter named Guy Clark really took me under his wing when
Mhm.
I was about 16. Willie Nelson,
Oh,
so
wow.
many people. I mean, I could go on. Kinky Friedman, the strangest dude. I love Kinky. He died about 2 years ago, and all right, he Kinky was totally offensive. Nobody watching your show would like
Hence the
him.
name Kinky,
Yeah.
right?
He was this Jewish guy from Texas, wore a big cowboy hat, smoked a cigar, had a sense of humor like Groucho Marx, and wrote mystery novels on the side. And so this was kind of funny. This was back in like 2004. I'm working in politics at that time. And suddenly get this call one morning, 8 o'clock, and it's Kinky's publicist. And he says, this is Kissy Black. Kinky Friedman would like you to endorse him for governor of Texas. And I said, does Kinky know I'm not from Texas? Hold, please. And about 5 minutes later, he gets on. Hey, hillbilly, I hear you ain't from Texas. Why the hell not? That became his slogan for his campaign. Kinky for governor. Why the hell not?
Oh, I guess awesome. I think not maybe not every, but many of us want it. I dreamed of being a movie star and a singer in
Sure.
Hollywood. And I look back at how horrible it is to these children, these
Oh, yeah.
stars today. And God spared you and spared me from getting into a
Mm.
lifestyle that has
No,
been taken
Nashville's
over
a
by wretched people.
yeah, I would not
Nashville's not.
at this point in time. I would not recommend anyone go to Nashville and try to have a music career. Um,
Yeah.
first of all, it's no longer real country music. I mean, and
It's
I
pop
play
music.
jazz. I play all kinds of stuff, and it was like they were always to me. You're like too country for country. You're too jazz for country. You're too rock for country. And I'm just like, what is country anymore? But um, that town is so heavy with hard drugs. I mean, they really portray it as like this family friendly place, but if you go down, like gosh, Church Street or anywhere around down near the Opry, the Ryman, the old Opry. I mean, there's hookers on every corner and drug addicts just nodding off. I mean, like I said, they portray it as a very family friendly town, but it's hard drugs everywhere you turn, and it's
Yeah.
really sad.
So what got you? Because really the show has nothing to do with what we've just talked about, but
Yeah, I know.
we grow up, excuse me, we mature and I learned I was called a prepper because I
Mhm.
feel like even if Armageddon doesn't happen and the Antichrist doesn't make his appearance, we're looking at the signs of the times where you've got people like Bill Gates buying up 75% of the farmland and then not farming it and things. So there are
Mhm.
many people that are preppers, many of us that are trying to learn to live on the land, and you are as well. What got you to do that?
I grew up that way. Okay, so my mother's family's from the eastern part of North Carolina, where you can pretty much guess that every year or two a hurricane's going to come, flood everything,
I'm
knock
in
it.
Virginia Beach. Yep.
Yeah, you're just
Yep.
not going to have power for a month, at least once a year. I grew up. My dad's family's from the western part of North Carolina, so I grew up in the mountains, about half and half, and you can pretty much figure out an ice storm or a blizzard's going to knock out power for a month. So I never saw myself as a prepper. We just stored fuel, stored water, canned food, stored dry beans and rice. The power goes out, you fire up the kerosene heater and make a big pot of soup with anything in the fridge that's going to spoil, you know. And that's the way I grew up. And then, turn around, people say, "Hey, you're a prepper." I'm like, "Well, okay." I mean,
You tend
I
to
have
think you're
my,
just prepared. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, and to me, it's just total common sense. I'm not looking for the zombie apocalypse or something. I'm not
Yeah.
worried about China invading tomorrow. They might, but I doubt it. Or aliens. I always say about aliens, they've left me alone for 48 years. They'll probably leave me alone for another 48 years. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
But
we
it's
keep,
not hurting us to be prepared for these
yeah,
things. And and actually, even if you're none of those things, but you recognize the formation of Maha,
hmm,
make America healthy again. If we are making our own food, we're staying away from those horrible preservatives, red
yeah,
food dyes, chemicals. What are the things that are the three-letter thing? I'm always forgetting what it is. Um, they put it,
PBAs or PHBs or,
yeah, no,
yeah,
that's not it, but those as well. And so if you're making your own food, then you can really improve your health. You're prepared for anything. And food is, right? If you have food and water, you've got what you need.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, so, all right. First of all, it is much healthier. I will say that. I believe that to be true. As an herbalist, I believe it to be true. But here's where I can give you the real experience. My great grandparents lived to be 104, 99, and 96. One did pass away in her 80s, but it turned out that uh, uh,
Your child.
fibrostic, what do you call them? The cysts, breast cysts,
Oh, yeah.
that ran in the
Fibrosis. Yep.
family, and mastectomies were not really very good back in the 50s and 60s. And so she died early. That grandfather then remarried and had a whole other family in his 80s. So, what did they do? Well, they lived on centuries old farms to start with. I mean, my family came in the 1600s, so been around here for a while. But they grew this huge variety of produce. I may have mentioned this in the last show. I've got a cookbook from like the 1920s, and it says when you go into the grocery store, here are the 100 varieties of apples you can expect to
Yeah,
find
you did.
and
Right?
how to use each one, right? I go in the grocery store, I find four.
And they're all Chernobyl apples, right?
Yes,
They're like the
exactly.
size
Yes,
of a
exactly.
small toddler. And you're like, oh, I'm sure that grew naturally without any radioactive particles.
Right. And we've got
Right.
we got beef, pork, and chicken. That's pretty much it at the grocery store, except maybe a little lamb in the spring or turkey in the fall. They grew hundreds of varieties. I mean, you would have had 30 varieties of tomatoes minimum. And maybe, we're part Creole, so we grew tons of hot peppers when most people in North Carolina did not. And garlic and onions and leeks and all the good stuff. Mustard greens, collard greens, turnip greens. I mean, tons of greens. When my grandmother cooked, she always had on the stove a big pot of field peas, Dixie Lee field peas. It's an heirloom variety, and butter beans cooked with fat back because they raise hogs.
Mm-hmm.
And then there'd be greens, and then there'd be rice, and there'd usually be potatoes, and there'd be chicken, and there'd be pork chops, and there'd be country style steak and gravy, and she cooked three times more than we needed because you never knew who was going to show up at the door,
Right.
and the door was always open.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was just a feast every day. And I'm telling you, you would meet a man 85, 89 years old, and he's still out there
Robust.
robust, cutting wood with a chainsaw, working the tractor, doing everything, and smoking like a train, and usually
And
drinking
today they're
high-grade
dying
whiskey.
at
And
50 and 60,
yeah,
and their backs are falling apart, and their bellies
exactly.
are aching. And
Yeah.
yeah,
A lot of that has to do with the food we eat. It just does not have the vitality, the nutrition, the phytonutrients. And the meats, they ate a huge variety of meats. It was not just beef, pork, and chicken. There was all kinds of game and fish and seafood. And I mean, we
goat,
never got
lamb.
tired of anything. I mean, there was
Yeah.
always so much. They made their own sausage. They cured their own bacon. They kept bees. And this is the way I grew up, and also the water is a huge issue. Our water is not clean. I don't care what municipality you live in. Well water, deep well water, rainwater is so much more clean because you think about all the drugs people are on:
I know.
birth control pills, anti-anxiety pills, antipsychotics, chemotherapy, you name it, right? It's all going straight down the toilet. It's going right back into the water system. And our water filtration is meant to keep out bacteria
And they
and
don't
metals.
filter out those drugs. My husband told me that, and it grossed me out
Yeah.
that you're drinking some other person's urinated estrogen from her birth
Hmm.
control. But I didn't even think about the SSRIs and things that you're
Yeah.
just mentioned here, but they're all in there.
Lithium. You cannot remove lithium from drinking water. And how many?
Wow.
Think about that. Then there's chlorine. Then there's the
These data centers that are going to be taking up all of our water, and then if
yeah,
there's anything left, that's what we're going to have. It's
and
just,
then just the synthetic estrogens that come off the plastic pipes and the plastic water bottles. And I mean, why is everybody obese? Well, everybody's getting all these synthetic estrogens their bodies don't know how to process. And so their cortisol levels go up. They start craving sugar. They start putting on body weight. Next thing you know, you got diabetes, heart disease, kidneys disease. My great grandmother on that lived to be about 96 went to the doctor twice. Once because she had a kidney issue during one of her pregnancies. All the babies were had at home. She had a kidney issue. They removed one kidney actually, and then when she died, let's see, 96 years old, went to the doctor twice. That's unheard of today, right? You're supposed to. I mean,
yeah,
there's a commercial that comes on the radio. Everybody's on meds. I'm not on meds.
not me either. I don't even know an aspirin or Tylenol. I'm like, I'm on the suck it up medicine most of the time. And I don't want anyone that's watching here to think that I'm judging you. Not judging you. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't trust anything. And I've taught my body how to just kind of deal with pain, and it works, But
I
so
remember this
let's go
old
ahead.
fellow one time. Someone asked him, "You don't go to doctors?" He's like, "No, doctors will kill you." And they said, "Well, what do you do when you get sick?" He says, "I get well."
Yeah, that's funny. That is funny. So let's do this because you opened my eyes to all the different reasons why some people would prepare, right? You prepare because you're going to have an ice storm, or you're going to have a hurricane, or whatever.
Or COVID.
You-
You never know
Or
when the next
COVID.
pandemic's coming around.
Where do we start? Where does the average person who's not a crazy prepper
Yeah.
waiting for Armageddon and a zombie apocalypse, right? You're
Hmm.
not crazy like that, but the Lord tells us that we should be prepared, right? Because you
Absolutely.
never know the day nor the
The
hour.
big
What's the
mistakes.
first thing we should do?
Well, the big mistake people make, they see the commercials on TV and they're like, "I'm going to buy all that food in the buckets." Um, you want to talk bad for your health, bad stuff? The stored food, MREs, and freeze dried
Hmm.
food. Some of them are good. They're better companies than others. But like my old friend Jack Spirico used to say, he has the survival or prepper pod, yeah, survival podcast. He's been doing it for years. Um, if you buy, 100 pounds of rice and beans, you're going to eat rice and beans every day. It's going to be rice and beans and beans and rice. And I happen to love rice and beans, but I don't want to eat it every meal, every single day. So people go and they spend hundreds of dollars on this like vacuum sealed rice and
Right.
beans or like instant soup mixes and such and put it back. That's, great, great. Get through 1 week during a hurricane and you're not going to ever want to see that stuff again.
That's right.
Buy what you eat and use common sense. I grew up working in grocery stores. We rotated products. Everything old comes to the back, everything new to the front, and everything new comes to the back, right? Just do that in your home. Every time you go to the store, buy twice what you need, and just keep rotating it out. When you use one of this, buy another one. Um, that's really good for like, dry goods, canned goods, and all that. If you're using refrigeration or freezers, of course, you have to have a backup generator. Make sure to rotate the fuel the same way as you rotate your food. I don't really do a lot of any of that. Honestly, I don't even have a generator. I have wood and a fireplace and some kerosene
Hmm.
and a heater if I need it. But a garden is great. And
Yeah.
there's so many ways you can grow a garden, even in an apartment, if all you've got is a window, making use of vertical space. We mentioned the word permaculture. My
Yeah,
book,
because you actually wrote a book called Herbal Medicine for Preppers, Homesteaders, and Permaculture People. What is a permaculture?
okay. Permaculture began very common sense. If you go back and you look at like George Washington's homestead or Thomas Jefferson's homestead, we would now consider most of what they did as permaculture. It is creating systems that support each other so that you can get maybe not self sufficiency, but self reliance. So the principles are very simple. Um, for every need you have, you should have at least three ways to provide for that need. So you need water. Figure out three ways to get water. People say, "Well, I live in an apartment. I can't do that." Well, have you ever caught rainwater before? I mean, you've got
Mhm.
your municipal water. You've also got rainwater. What other source can you use? Maybe three ways to get that water, right? Um, Vegetables. Figure out three ways to grow vegetables. Figure out three ways to get your meat. Figure out three ways to heat your home. I mean, always look for backup, resiliency. And you can't always do that, but there are so many things you can do, like communications. All right. During the Hurricane Helene, no cell towers. So one of my means of communications went down. I had
Satellite
a
phone or so.
walkie-talkie, a shortwave
Yeah.
radio, essentially, and we've got a repeater up on Mount Mitchell. There you go. I had and a weather radio, and also I keep the old landline around because you can still just dial 911. So I mean that's four ways that I can communicate if I get in trouble. If I was out in the woods, I'd take one of those little Garmin InReaches. It's basically a mini sat phone that costs like $5 a month. They're fantastic. Delorme is one that makes a little cheaper version. But anyway, you just look at anything you need and figure out three ways to provide for that need. Then the goal is to make each of those aspects accomplish five other things. And so it's a design science, is what it is. You sit down and you make a list. These are my needs. How am I going to fill my needs? And then how can each of those aspects do five other things? And it can be a little overwhelming,
I'm
but
just gonna ask you, is this hard? How do you,
you take
starting?
one thing at a time,
Yeah.
one aspect at a time. The word permaculture was coined by Bill Mollison in the 1970s. But like I said, before that, people have been doing it for centuries. Back in the 1700s in France, they found they had way too much horse poop all over the place. And they also didn't have a way to get fresh produce into Paris. And so a guy comes and says, "Hey, let's take all that horse poop and bury it and then start growing our vegetables out of it." And they found it kept the soil warm during the winter.
Yeah.
So there you got rid of a problem, you fertilized your plants, and you kept the soil warm and increased your growing season by almost a full 3 months on either end. I mean,
Wow.
6 weeks here and 6 weeks there, basically, right? And Paris no longer had to import vegetables during that time. That's one of your foundational principles of permaculture. On my grandparents' farm, that's exactly the way it was set up. My grandfather actually went up to um, uh, Jefferson's place, which is on the tip of my
Oh,
tongue,
that's right
Monticello.
here in Virginia. It's Monticello.
Yeah, and Lincoln, I mean Washington's place, because the Carrolls actually sold the
Mount
land in
Vernon.
Washington. To so that was actually our old property that he put his house on, and went up there and explored it and saw how he had the blacksmith shop, and the blacksmith shop made the nails, and over here he had his timber mill, and he took the wood from that and he built the buildings, and then over here he had his distillery, and over here he was growing his grain. And so he comes back and thinks, we've been doing this great for the past few hundred years, but what if I can just make this a design science? And so I'm going to put the chickens here, and I'm going to start rotating them around. And the chickens will scratch up the ground. They'll eat all the bugs. They'll fertilize. And then I'm going to bring the horses in, or the goats would actually come in after the chickens because the grass was growing lush and full, and the goats would come through and graze. The horses would then rotate into that pasture, or the cows, right? And everything was also set up for efficiency. So you would take the waste from one place and put it here. You didn't work trucking it out. You weren't moving
Right.
things around, or you were growing extra pumpkins over here to feed to the chickens in the wintertime. So you weren't bringing in a lot of chicken feed. and he planted fruit trees and nut trees everywhere, perennial vegetables. So literally, you would just walk around the farm and just graze. I mean, there was never a time when you walked out there that you didn't have food. And my grandmother did the same thing in the kitchen. She made her own sausage, cured the bacon, canned the vegetables. We had this giant pantry. There was stored, when I came in, I was in college when she had a heart attack, and I had to come in and take care of the farm. There was minimum 5 years of stored food. We never bought a thing. Every night I just say, "What do you want?" She said, "Go see what's in the pantry. Go see what's in the freezer." And of course, my grandfather was a genius. He did all his. He was a carpenter. He was a brick mason. He was a farmer. He was an electrician. He was a mechanic. He was a politician. He was a justice of the peace. He was a game warden. Um, I mean, he had his own nuclear fallout shelter. So I say,
Wow.
I don't think of myself as a prepper because for me, literally as a kid,
This
there
is
was
your
a
life.
nuclear fallout shelter. You go into a concrete bunker with a lead door, and he set up his own air filtration, and it had separate well and electricity and radio equipment. And of course, my grandmother said, if we have a nuclear bomb, all my family's going to be dead. So I don't want to go down there. That's all on you. So he
Wow.
just set it up that way. And,
Do they still have that? Do you still have a piece of land?
my aunts decided to sell the family farm, and they turned it into a retirement home.
Hmm.
But that's okay because Smithfield Pork moved into the county, and it's now the most disgusting, stinking, vile place on the face of the earth.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
entirely illegal aliens are their employees, gangs everywhere, violence. Um, it's
Yeah. So it's
absolutely
not what it
horrible.
used to be. Not what it used to be.
Well, the same thing happened up in Virginia, on the Pagan River. I guess that's where Smithfield used to be. They poisoned the Pagan River. They said they wouldn't be able to use it for 1,000 years. There was so
Yeah.
much hog waste that went in there.
It's
And it's
terrible.
owned by the Chinese. So,
I
it's not
well,
even
and that's
American owned.
again right here by me, so I know that it was owned.
Yeah.
But let's kind of keep on this for people who are interested in the prepping. So you've got the book, which of course I'm gonna have in the show notes that they could buy because I think I really wanted to talk about the prepping. So even though for those of us that were not born on property with a bunker and 5 years of food,
Yeah.
so
Hey,
do your
we
first
even
things
had a pet
first.
alligator.
Wow, okay. So we go take care of our water. I know my husband said that we have a well on our property. So I'm like, get the well handle. We're in the city, right in the city proper. So I didn't even know we had a well.
Oh,
So I
neat.
said,
Okay.
that's a priority. Let's get the well handle. And
Yeah.
so we can have access to that water. And then, water filters, things like that.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. Just say you're a normal suburban or city dwelling person. You're on
That's
like an
me.
eighth
I'm
of
a
an
normal
acre.
city dwelling person right
Yeah.
here.
And okay. So you got a home that's going to be 1,500 to 2,500 square feet. That roof by itself will catch enough water over the course of a year, in an average year, not a drought, to provide water for 5 homes. So think
Really?
about your roof. I mean, always think about your roof. If you have asphalt shingles, you're going to have to filter that water. If you put up a metal roof, you can just do the very basics. And you then have resilience. You don't have to rely on city water. Now you
So
got a
then you put
well.
like a water barrel, water
Yeah,
barrels
water
at the
barrels,
end.
yeah, rain barrels. And you got to make sure your city doesn't have an ordinance against that. Some actually do, which is insane.
I was gonna say, why would they do
Um,
that? Because they want to control us.
yeah, well, I mean, down in Charleston, South Carolina, until recently, it was illegal to have a vegetable garden. Yeah, in the city of Charleston, in the South, where we're supposed to be all free and open-minded, and yeah, illegal to have a vegetable garden. You can only grow flowers. So I
Wow.
had in my book, "Growing Your Survival Herb Garden." I have all these strategies, like if you're in a homeowners association, owners association, how to grow herbs and edible plants that look like a flower garden.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
you do a little design. You think, what's the color of this? What's the height of that? How can I put that in there so it looks like landscaping when it's actually food or
Ah,
or, or, or medicine? Yeah, and oftentimes both. Yeah. So these are strategies. I mean, you sit down and you just say, what is my need?
So,
Okay.
and water is everyone's number
Yeah.
one need.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
and
okay, so this is what I always prioritize because I'm also an outdoorsman. Okay. So I like to be in the woods as much as possible. I prioritize five things.
okay,
Number
got it.
one, first aid, because if you're bleeding out, you got to stop it. I mean, it doesn't matter if you have food, water, fire. If you cut an artery, you got to take care of that first. So very simple first aid. Now I have herbs I use. Like if I'm in the woods and I get cut, I'm going to grab some pine pitch. I'm going to look for Oregon grape. It's got antiseptic properties. Okay. But I also carry Neosporin and I carry Band-Aids and I carry a tourniquet. I mean, I'm not stupid. Uh, just common sense stuff. And anybody
Yeah.
can do this. I mean, when I was a Boy Scout, we had a manual on first aid, and I was like in third grade, and we trained on this stuff. Anybody can do it. It's a piece of cake. Main thing, always remember, stop the bleeding and then address the next issue. Compound fracture, that's a totally different issue. You got a compound fracture, you call for help, get the hell out of there. You're going to die, okay? Because that thing's going to
Right.
either bleed out or get infected. Heart attacks, or keep some aspirin on you and then get help as soon as possible. Anaphylactic shock. If you need an EpiPen, have it with you. If you need Benadryl, keep it with you. There's serious issues, but then most things are not. Most things are pretty easy. So, first aid, then shelter. You got to keep the wind off of you. You got to keep the rain off of you. You can go into hypothermia in the blink of an eye in bad weather. And there's so many people that end up in that situation every year, or maybe they get stuck on the highway in a snowstorm. And you can, for 50 cents to $1, buy a little Mylar space blanket, emergency blanket, like you always see the kids
I have
in the
one. I have
shelters. Yeah.
several. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like 50 cents to $1. Keep it in your
Yeah.
glove box, right? And you break down side the road and you get cold and you can just wrap up in it and you're going to live. That's considered part of shelter. The same would be true of a poncho, like just one of those little ones you can stick in your pocket, the plastic ones. Just any way to keep yourself warm and dry. They make emergency bivouac bags. They're like this
Bug
big.
out bags.
You can
Yeah.
stick them in your pocket. They make emergency tents. You can just stick one at literally a tent that's this big. You can buy them on eBay for $5. I mean, there's no excuse not to have one, right? So after first aid and shelter, then I'm looking at water. So I keep a canteen with me. It's I don't know, 1970s, probably Vietnam era steel canteen. If I
Mm-hmm.
find any kind of water, I can filter it through a handkerchief and then boil it. You know, I also keep some water purification tablets in my wallet. They don't take up any room. I got, a water filter straw, a life straw, I think they call it. So I got five ways to get water. That's, my principle. Five ways to do anything, right? So first aid, shelter, water, then fire. If I want to be warm or I want to cook or I need a signal for help, I keep a lighter on me, a pack of matches, and a ferro rod. And
What was the third thing?
a ferro rod, I think it's ferrocenium. It's just basically a metal rod with a striker, and it throws off
Okay.
sparks. So I've got at least, well, I also keep a little magnifying glass in my wallet. It's plastic and flexible. So, I mean, I've got at least five ways to make fire. I've got five ways to get water. I've got five ways to have shelter. I've got five ways to at least first aid. Um, and then it's always a good idea to keep a little food on you. I mean, you can just take a little tiny bag and put some lentils, a bouillon cube, and some rice in it. And if you've got water, you can make a soup that'll feed you for 2 days. I mean, it's just bouillon, lentils, rice, water, piece of cake, right? Some salt and pepper. You can do more things. Take a can of sardines with you, if nothing else. I'm always amazed people don't carry food with them. I
Yeah,
do.
I never do. I mean, I didn't think about that. I
Yeah.
have like running shoes in the back of my car in case anything ever happens. I do currently have gallons of water in there, but that's only because I'm
Mhm.
going to go get it blessed and make it into holy water. But now I'm thinking I should leave some in there.
Yeah, a
You
little
don't think
extra
about those
water.
things.
Stick some
Yeah.
beef jerky in your pocket. I mean, stick some. trail mix, gorp, whatever they call it these days, sunflower seeds, anything just for some calories because you never know
That's
what
a
might happen.
really great idea. That is really great. And then, so do you suggest having this in your car, having it in your house, having separate ones in separate places, or what? Do you
Yeah,
have a bug
well,
out
I mean,
bag?
yeah, of course I stock my pantry, but I usually wear cargo pants or shorts, and I keep a little Ziploc bag with really about 2 days worth of food in it. It doesn't take up more than this amount of space and doesn't weigh a half pound. Just goes in one of my pockets. I stick some in my truck. Yeah. I usually
Oh,
keep a little fishing kit on me too, in case, I mean, that's more for recreational fun,
yes,
but I
you
keep a
get
little,
fish though. But you're
yeah.
right. But you know, this is funny because, as I said at the top of the show, is too many people think about just prepping Armageddon. You know, it's
Mhm.
like, and even my own kids are like, "Mom, you know, Jesus isn't coming for a while." And first of all, I'm like, "Well, A, you don't know, but B,
Right.
even if he doesn't come in my
Even so,
lifetime, right? He told us that the wise virgins were the ones that had oil in their
yeah,
lamps, so that when the bridegroom came, they were ready. I'm like, "What's the worst that happens? You take my food." You know, you take the food. It doesn't
yeah,
hurt. Give it to some food kitchen
yeah,
so
exactly.
some
And I
homeless
usually
person
keep a
can have
little
it.
olive oil on me or something along those lines because if you were out in the woods for a week, stranded, okay, worst case scenario,
Right.
you're out in the woods for a month. I mean, let's go reasonable, a week, and you're stranded. Um, if you had your little fishing kit, you could get protein if there was, fish in the water, or you could figure
Oh, there's fish
usually
in the
what
water. You
people,
mean if there's fish on your hook?
yeah, I mean it's always fishing, it's not always catching, but
Right.
if you can find a worm, you can usually catch a fish. You can get a bluegill or something, and depending on where you are, obviously not in the desert. In the desert, I'd be hunting for snakes, and I actually quite like snake meat. I growing up in the swamps in North Carolina, that's something I was exposed to. You can make an excellent
Hmm.
curry out of snake meat, but anyway,
I think people
the
think because they're creeped out by snakes that you can't eat the meat. I'm like, no, it's. I think I'm not sure, but I think I've had snake meat, and I've
Mhm.
had some stuffed buffaloes,
Yeah.
alligator
Oh,
things.
I love gator. Yeah, but yeah, that's why we had the gator in the backyard, by the way. But what people run out of first is fat. They don't think fat. I mean, you can forage for vegetables. You can find different things. You can usually satisfy protein, carbohydrate. If you don't have fats, you start getting kind of cloudy in your head. You start getting run down. So always keep some kind of fat on me for frying, for cooking, or even in just an
What's the
emergency
best kind of fat
situation.
then, Judson? What should we have?
I love olive oil, and I love lard.
But you're talking about in the house. What about are you talking about? Again, I keep thinking, what if you're on the road? So
Yeah,
should I
what if
have a
I'm on
little
the
bit in
road?
my car?
I buy my favorite hot sauce is Yucateco habanero sauce. It comes in these little bottles. They're very thick glass, and this is another one of those ways of using things multiple ways. I put anything I need in there, any kind of sauce. Like if I want some Worcestershire sauce with me, right? Always good to kind of make a meal a little better. Some vinegar, lemon juice, but I also will put in there some olive oil. Now, lard is shelf stable. Just wrap it up in some foil and wax paper and carry it around for months. No, no problem. So
It's not
that's a
even like a
backup.
real food group, is it?
Yeah, it's hydrogenated lard. It's not the best, but it's better than nothing, right?
Yeah,
So
that's
these are
true. If you're gonna
shatterproof
die
bottles.
anyway, you may as well
Yeah,
eat it.
but they're shatterproof bottles. Then I take duct tape and wrap around, or electricians, black electricians tape and wrap around. And so I've got a shatterproof bottle now that has a little bit of oil in it, and if I need to start a fire, I can pull off some of that tape and light it with my lighter, and I've got fuel. That's one of the easiest ways to start a fire is just take some duct tape or electric tape, and it serves two purposes. It's both keeps the bottle from breaking and it starts a fire. Or you can tape up, if you have a rip in your tent or something like
So
that.
what are your thoughts on Bunsen burners or things? What's the best way to
You know,
have instant food or heat,
well, where
fire?
I live, it's a rainforest. It rains 270 days a year, so I can always have a hard time starting a campfire, but very little worry about it getting out of control.
Right.
Um, you know, I also have a little alcohol stove I'll carry with me. It's about that big. It's half the size of a soda can. And all you do is put alcohol in it and light it. It'll bring a pot of water to boil. I have my old mess kit from my Boy Scout days, and a big um, Dutch oven that yeah, it's so worth it though, just to carry that thing in.
I was
You
gonna
can
say,
do
I
anything.
had some mess kits from Girl Scouts. I got to go see if I still have them.
Yeah,
I think I do.
and literally you can do anything with a Dutch oven, or a good cast iron skillet. And people say you're crazy carrying cast iron in the woods, and I'm like, as long as I'm young enough to carry it, I'm going to carry it, because cast iron is the very best thing to cook on. I don't care what anybody says. It's foolproof. It's idiot proof. Love my cast iron, and I have a
And
ton.
I was just telling my girlfriend, the people who love cast iron are those who cook. Those people who hate it are the ones who clean.
I
And I was like,
inherited
oh,
probably 200 years worth of cast iron. I
wow.
have cast iron like you would not believe, tons of it. And one of the other things, and I would never carry this camping, but I love those old Corningware casserole dishes
Yep.
when
Yep.
I'm in the kitchen. Man, those things are fantastic. Or the Pyrex glass bowls, the old like depression glass bowls and such.
Yeah, we need to get back to that because all this
Absolutely.
aluminum is causing dementia. And even I was making banana bread and the Teflon, the aluminum, and people
Yeah.
just want to
Oh, Teflon's
disregard.
horrible. Yeah.
Yeah, and I cooked on
Yeah.
it for years.
And your best nonstick surface is still going to be a cast iron pan that's been greased down with, unfortunately, Crisco, because Crisco does actually form that perfect no nonstick surface. But any fat will be fine if you do it enough, if you cook with it enough. It builds up these little carbon deposits that form a perfectly smooth, almost like what they put on the outside of the space shuttle. Those tiles that keep it from burning. Essentially, that's what it comes down to. Yeah, when you season a pan and use it properly. So yeah, that's the kind of thing I think about. It's like first aid, shelter, fire, water, fire, food, and then communications. And like I said, I have a little the $20 Baofeng radio. It's a GMRS walkie-talkie. Um, you can actually send text through it if you have the right app on your phone. You kind of pair the two, and just about anywhere in the world. I mean, I can turn on and get the weather radio. I can contact emergency services, even if I'm way out in the woods where I have no cell service, because we have no cell service in the Pisgah National Forest. I can hit what they call a repeater, which is an antenna up on a high place. And if I need to contact 911, I can do that. Even unlicensed, you can do that. They will not come arrest you because you don't have your ham radio license if you're in trouble. And I carry a little fishing kit because I love to fish, and I actually carry a couple of mouse traps in case I need to catch a squirrel in an emergency. And people don't think, they think mouse traps. Why would you? Well, squirrels are pretty darn similar to mice, except they're very edible and tasty.
Yeah. But when again, you keep talking about I carry this. I mean, what does it look like? Do you have a backpack? Do you put it in a box in your car?
Yeah, I
What
keep a
should
small
people
backpack.
look to?
Like, okay, so I keep a backpack that's, where's my hands? There we go, about yay big. And that's got like my Dutch oven in it and extra herbs and spices, a little canned food. I don't carry that on a daily basis at all. In there would go a wool blanket. Wool
Hmm.
blankets are fireproof, they're fire retardant. That's why I carry a wool blanket. And they will keep you warm even if they're soaking wet, as long as they're at least 80% warm. Wool, I mean, 80% wool. Um, I don't carry
A
a
wool blanket will keep you warm even if it's wet.
soaking wet. If it's 80% wool or better, it will work just as well as a dry blanket almost. They're
Wow.
fantastic. If you can find an old wool blanket, 80% or higher, always stick one back, because that's actually a lifesaver. Um, I carry a few knives, a belt knife, a pocket knife. Depending on where I'm going, I might carry a pistol, but I don't worry about things too much. I have a bad knee, so I have an excuse to carry a cane. If somebody actually messed with me, I can just whack them with my cane. I don't, worry about anything like that. I usually
Yeah.
carry it on my arm. I don't even lean on it. It's just there if I need it. Um, yeah. And so I got a backpack. That's what they would in prepping communities call bug out bag. It's got everything you
Right.
need for a week. Okay. Then I have this like tiny little nylon bag about that big, and it goes right on my belt. or it can go in the glove box of the truck. In there is matches, lighters, fire starters, a little fishing kit, mylar blanket, poncho, compass, mirror, chapstick, because you never know when you might need chapstick, candles. I mean, there's like, I could
Yeah.
survive on a week just with that. And it literally would just go right on my belt or in the glove box of the car. And a canteen for water. And that canteen, it's kind of cool because it actually has this little detachable piece, which is a stick stove. You just put it down and you take a bunch of sticks, light them, and it'll boil the water right on top of it. So that's a piece of cake. And this is more like extreme, I always say, don't plan on leaving your home in an emergency. Make your home your refuge, but
Yeah.
have something in case you do have to
Just
leave.
in case.
Yeah, just in
Yeah.
case. And for me, I like to get out in the woods and fish and hunt and, you know, forage and do my thing. So half my gear is, dual use for camping and outdoors. I got a little saw. Oh, even in my hat, I put on a waterproof fedora. Had this thing since I was 10 years old. Well, Indiana Jones type fedora, right? And so in the hat, I've got a mosquito net, so I can pull it over for mosquitoes. I've got a little light that clips to the top, so if it's
Yeah.
dark, and a blade for a bow saw that wraps around the inside of the hat. Don't even know it's there. It just goes right in the band. If I need to, I take the hat out, pull the blade, take a stick and bend it, put 2 nails through, which I always carry a couple of nails in that little pouch as well. And I've got a bow saw. I can saw wood and start a fire, or and it's all just very 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 common sense stuff. Just you
Well,
just
it's funny because it's not common anymore.
Yeah.
I am a city girl. I didn't think about some of these things. So, the idea of the knife, even though that's common, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I should. But I'm
Yeah,
at the beginning stages of prepping, and I started with food, and I know that I've talked to several people who said food is good, but start with the things like you said that you need first. Let's go with the
yeah.
water. Let's
And
get
if
the
you get a
sugar.
knife, a Swiss Army knife, you can't beat it, right?
Right.
Swiss Army knife's got, I don't, I mean, no, it depends on the model you can buy, but literally,
Yeah, you got your corkscrew, you
yeah.
got your
So you
nail
can open your
file,
wine
you
because everybody has wine in an emergency. I know.
right, right.
No, you got some of them have a little magnifying glass to start a fire. They have tweezers, toothpick, a saw. Most of them have a little saw, and it's not like it's not a multi tool that you're going to do everything with, but you should always carry a Swiss Army knife, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, goodness. So is all of this in your book? And you have more than just the Herbal Med for Preppers book. The other ones, I cannot remember. Are they prepper type of books too?
Yeah. Okay. So, growing your survivor herb garden, and like I said,
Right.
that's like, again, this is the mindset I start with. We'll start with their needs. Okay, so what are your problems? You got allergies, colds, you got maybe menstrual issues, you got pain, you've got sleep. You make your list of what, and then I give you about 5 herbs for each one and
Right.
instructions on how to grow them. And then I give you tips on how to work them into an HOA or a POA so you don't get fined. And so it's a pretty useful
Assuming you're
book.
in a state that doesn't allow you to grow a garden.
Yeah, I know. That's crazy, isn't it? I couldn't believe that. They finally did overturn that at least. But anyway, um, then Omnivore's Guide to Home Cooking. That's probably my most popular book. It's my cookbook. I've also got a cookbook specifically on foraging, but the Omnivore's Guide to Home Cooking, it every single kind of meat and fish I could think of, I tell you how to use it, and every single kind of vegetable, I tell you how to use it. Every grain. The thing is like over 500 pages long, and it is just packed full of. I didn't do it in a recipe format. Okay, this is why I say it's the strangest cookbook ever written. I didn't say take a cup of this and a spoonful of that. Right? I said we're going to cook this way. And so choose your meat and choose your herbs and choose your seasoning. And if you got this, use that. And if you haven't got this, substitute that. So that literally, if you're at home and you want to cook something, you can look into your pantry and see, well, I've got these ingredients. All right, I'm going to flip through his book. Oh, I could combine lentils with chicken broth and some onions and maybe a half glass of wine and a little salt and pepper, and I've got a fantastic lentil soup that cost me like 50 cents, right? Yeah. Or I came, I caught a fish. What do I do with it? Do I fry it? Do I bake it? Do I poach it? Do I grill it? And I had a lot of fun with it because also it's not only just a cookbook, it's a how-to cookbook. I tell
Hmm.
you what cookware is best. Like we talk about cast iron, we talk about the old Corningware and depression glass and all that. But do you have a stove? If so, is it electric? Is it gas? There's a difference. Are you cooking over a campfire? Are you going to preserve this food? Are
Yeah.
and I had a huge amount of fun with that. I don't have a big sweet tooth, but there are some good desserts in there. I mean, something people don't even think about anymore, like bread pudding. When was the last time you had a real bread pudding?
I don't know if
Or
I
a,
ever did. I've had some in restaurants, but who knows if that's
oh,
real.
make a custard, does some bread, a little bit of rum, some raisins, a little bit of cinnamon. It's easy, it's cheap, it's so good. Or a real from scratch southern banana pudding. I put the real banana pudding recipe in there, not the box stuff. And yeah,
Yeah.
I got some great. My first passion was always food, and so I get excited about that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why are you not fat? You know, because if
Good
you,
genes.
yeah, but you lived on the land and you're eating food without preservatives and you're
Yeah,
able to have these
yeah,
things.
absolutely. I mean, in the spring, I'm out. I'm harvesting fiddlehead ferns. I'm harvesting morel mushrooms, ramps. I got my other cookbook's a spring foraging cookbook. I mean, I eat so much wild food throughout the year. Poke. You ever had poke salad? Oh, come
What's
on,
that?
poke's. Yeah, poke's delicious. It
What is
it tastes
it?
like. Well, you remember the old song "Poke Salad Annie"? No, really? Okay.
Grew up
Well,
in
you missed that one.
Milwaukee, city
Oh,
girl.
so okay. Poke is Phytolacca americana. It is one of our most common weeds. It'll grow this 4 or 5 foot tall bush. In the spring, it puts out nice big leaves, and in the summer, it puts out these bright purple berries, and it has a purple stem. It is officially poisonous, but in the early spring, those leaves have not taken up the poison from the stem. So it's sort of like rhubarb in that way. You know how you eat the stems but not the leaves, but it's the opposite. So those
Right.
leaves taste like sweet garden peas, and they are everywhere. I mean, you can just go out in April, May, you can pick pounds and pounds of poke and eat it fresh. You actually, there is a process for cooking it. Make sure there's no toxicity. You boil it a couple of times. Make sure. I eat it raw, but because I've been eating
Right.
it all
You
my
know what
life.
to do. Right.
But yeah, you can can it, you can freeze it, you can put it up for years, and it's absolutely free. And one of the first things the Cherokee taught the settlers when they came here was to make a wine out of those berries for arthritis. Turns out poke is one of them powerful lymphatic. It purges the lymph system. And the government will tell you don't eat it, it's poisonous. Basically, the only thing that's going to happen to you is you throw up if you eat of it, too much of it raw. If you eat
Yeah.
it cooked and properly handled, and it's everywhere. I guarantee you've got in next spring. Well, probably right now it's growing all over the place in Virginia. Any vacant lot, any roadside. Always be careful from harvesting from roadsides because the runoff from the road. But another one you'll probably see all over the place up there is like prickly pear cactus because the settlers planted them as food and people forgot. Those purple fruits are like almost like a kiwi. Cut them off, burn the spines off. You can make jams and jellies and ice creams and wine out of them. It's fantastic. Dandelions and plantain, the weedy plantain, not the banana thing, what we call yard plantain.
Right.
Um, Dandelions were brought here as food and medicine by our ancestors. There's free food all around us, and it's I have a great time just discovering new foods and new recipes and berries I haven't tried or nuts or seeds I haven't tried. Amaranth grows wild all around us. Lamb's quarters wild all around us. Tastes just like spinach. Um,
And which book are all these in? Is this in your book, Herbs That Heal, or is this not in either of those?
that's probably going to be the Spring Foraging Cookbook, Omnivore's Guide to Home Cooking. Yeah, most of that's going to be more Spring Foraging Cookbook because I kind of had spring in mind when I started talking. Yeah, right now we're looking more at, your fall vegetables and your nuts that are starting to come out in trees and your apples and tree fruit. And I mean, anywhere there was an old homestead, there's going to be apple trees, and more than likely, people aren't picking them. I mean, tons of fruit goes to waste.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Tons of
that is very
fruit.
sad.
When they keep running on these commercials, everybody's starving. You gotta, feed the children or whatever. And I'm like, we are
Grab off the
surrounded
trees.
by
Yeah.
free food. And one thing that would grows everywhere in Virginia, I know for a fact, is uh, nutgrass. Why is nutgrass called nutgrass? Because the root forms a little tuber that tastes like peanuts, and people are spraying it with Roundup because they want that perfect
I
lawn.
know, I know.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, they even have a cultivated version called tiger nuts that grow about that big, and you have to order the seeds for there, and they're just wild. Chuffas, another name for it. They're everywhere. I mean, there's so much food, and people just don't recognize it. I mean, in the summertime
Yeah.
down the coast, I love to go frog gigging. I love frog legs. I love to catch snapping turtle. Snapping turtle soup was a delicacy in early America, and it's still just fantastic. I mean, this stuff people will go down to New Orleans and pay hundreds of dollars for a meal, and it's literally just out your back door.
Crazy to think about that. I am so sad that we're short on time. I mean, we're
Yeah.
just close to an hour here, and there's so much information you have. So I want to put in the website all your books.
Hmm.
So the herbs that heal, the herbal medicine for preppers, homesteaders, pharmaceutical. Your podcast. You talk about this a lot on one of your podcasts. I know it's called
Yeah,
Uncensored
Southern
Catholic.
Appalachian Herbs. Do
Yeah.
that once a week, every Sunday, and I really do get. I'll spend an hour, hour and a half on some of these topics, and I take one herb a week, or I take one plant a week, and talk about it for an hour. So it gets pretty darn in depth. Um, Uncensored Catholic podcast is all religious content. If you're interested in that, daily writings on the mass readings through my Substack newsletter, Uncensored Catholic. But all the books are on Amazon
Hmm.
except for Herbs That Heal, Catholic Home Remedies. That's through
That's
Sophia
Sophia.
Press. But then all of everything's on Amazon.
And we will
And
have links for them all in the show notes so that people
yeah,
can get what they want.
and
And
there are
I
two Judson Carrolls on Amazon. One of them was a Freemason, though. So I'm the guy that's not the Freemason.
not that guy. Good to know. Good to know. All right, name one thing you'd have our viewers do differently as a result of something they heard today.
Store water. Next time you're going to throw out a milk carton, rinse it out, and put a gallon of water back. Make sure it's clean, and that water is going to be there for the next couple of years. Just this last week, I was down at my aunt's place, and a water main broke, and so the toilets wouldn't flush. Fortunately, last time I was down, I stuck back a few gallons of water, and so there was no emergency. So,
Wow.
yeah, that's as simple as can
Water.
be. And
Start
get
with
one of those
water.
Mylar blankets, those space blankets, those
I'm
little,
so glad I bought them. I have
yeah,
them all here. I have several.
cheap, 50 cents, a dollar, they'll save your life.
Yeah, and you store them in this
Yeah.
little tiny thing. Well, Judson, anybody wants to reach out to Judson, you can do so in the links below. He'd love to hear from you on his podcast. I, of course, am recommending that you buy his books. They can definitely help you, whether you're preparing for a zombie apocalypse or you just want to be ready for the next hurricane. It is what we should be doing. The Lord calls us to be responsible, to be prepared. And he doesn't just mean for Armageddon. He means
Yeah.
be prepared. You got to
I
feed
mean,
your
people go out and
family.
buy guns and ammo, and I'm like, you know what? A bag of dried beans is going to do you a lot better in emergency.
Yes, yes, that's the truth. That's the truth. And so, yep, you can find him at all the places in the show notes. You can find me in all the places: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, whatever other ones I'm missing. Just look below. If you're interested in supporting my ministry, you can do so financially and buy me a coffee.com. Thank you for those of you that have. I don't always get a chance to thank you. You have to go into a separate place and try to find those and deposit. So I do want to say thank you to anyone. I've said a prayer over your name if I've seen it. That means a lot to me. This is the ministry that God gave me. If you'd like to bring me in to be a speaker at your next function, all of that can go to my brand new website, breakfastwithbacon.com. And if you're standing for your marriage because your spouse has left you, but you believe your vows meant something, you can get that at my website as well and more. That's a lot to say, Judson. Okay, but you know your words because you only have two words. So we're gonna see
Sunny
how.
side
Yeah,
up.
but you're saying it too soon.
I
You're
said it
a
too soon.
prepper. You're prepared. My gosh. Give the girl a chance to say, I'm Dr. Christine Bacon. You've been watching Breakfast with Bacon, and I'd like to remind you always to live your life
Sunny side up or over easy.
or hard boiled, whatever you want.